I've been trying so hard not to bring this up. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. For those of you who are returning subscribers, it is so good to see you again. Welcome back. And if you are a first-time viewer, my name is Alicia and this is my husband,
Joshua.
And together we make videos about everything marriage and faith related. We do it through a variety of sit-down videos like this one where we talk to you guys, and we also do some fun vlogs and challenges. We've vlogged a lot of big moments in our life. We actually vlogged the day that we met, vlogged our proposal, vlogged me moving to Canada to marry him. Go check out those videos after this one if you're interested. Today's video is one that we're really excited for because it's super important. We're going to be talking about ways that you can de-escalate fights in your relationship. We've been married for almost 3 years now, and we have had to learn how to deal with conflict the hard way. So hopefully you guys can take some of our advice and save yourself some troubles. Before you get married, it can be really difficult to even imagine fighting with your significant other. But trust me, it will happen. It's inevitable. And so it's really good to know some really good conflict resolution techniques to help you in your marriage.
All right, so I'll start us off. The first thing is hug it out. Sometimes when you're in the middle of a fight, things are getting a little bit overwhelming. If you realize that both of you are getting heated and you think that other person might just need some reassurance, just give them a hug. Show them that you care. I think Alicia was kind of the first one to implement this. So I'd be getting heated, she'd be getting heated, and then she'd just say, hey, look, and just give me a hug and just tell me, you know what, I love you. This isn't a you against me thing. This is an us against the issue.
It just takes one person to humble themselves and hug the other person, tell the person, I still love you. It's us against the problem, not us against each other. And it just makes those walls come down.
It's kind of bridging that physical gap and showing that person that, hey, this is safe, this is secure. Let's just talk it out. Let's hug. I love you. I just want to show you my appreciation for you in this moment, even though I'm a little bit upset with you, or a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, or a lot. I actually just thought of something as you were speaking. It's way more likely for you to be yelling at someone when you're across the room from them. It's really hard to yell at someone when you're this close in their face.
Yeah. So. At least it should be like.
Yeah, hopefully you're less likely to yell at someone who's up in your face. So that's the first one. Nice and simple, very practical, very effective. It's really common in relationships for one person to be an internal processor and the other person to be an external processor. And so a lot of the time during a conflict, one party is going to want to address it straight away. Let's talk about it right now. Let's hash this problem out. Let's take it, look at it from every single angle. Talk about your childhood. Why have you responded in this way? What are your traumas? Why did you yell at me? Like, one person is just ready to dive in head first and do that. And the other person is like, don't talk to me. Leave me alone. I have no idea what just happened. I need time before I can talk to you and figure all of this out. I'm the external processor and Joshua over here is definitely the internal processor. So we actually seeked some wisdom from my mom, and she gave us some really good advice that we've carried with us. And that is to have a 30-minute rule. So after a conflict, if one person wants to talk about it and the other person doesn't, you have 30 minutes. But basically the idea of the 30-minute rule is that the internal processor gets 30 minutes where they can just process. And that could mean taking a nice long shower and just thinking about it in the shower. It can mean going for a drive. It could mean journaling. It can mean anything that helps that person to process within that period of time. And then the external processor has to just sit in those uncomfortable feelings as a way to respect that their spouse needs time to process. But after the 30 minutes, it's time for the internal processor to respect that the external processor has put their uncomfortable feelings aside, waiting for them to process it, and they have to respect them by now being willing to talk about it.
If I'm not respecting her and I'm just like, well, we'll talk about it later, and then it's like 4 hours or the next day, and she's like, well, I've been unhappy for 4 hours or an entire day. Yeah. We haven't talked about it. You don't love me because you're not even willing to work on things with me. Clearly you don't love me or whatever, which isn't true, but you know, that's her feelings. So, you know, if she's actually feeling that and I can respect her feelings and know and understand, I just need to...
I'm just going to cut you off because this leads us perfectly into the next point.
Yeah, you're right.
You want to tell them what the next point is?
Invalidating or minimizing the other person's feelings causes them to refrain from sharing vulnerable feelings with you. Mm-hmm. I'll be the first to admit, and the only person in this party that this really applies to. Early in our marriage, that was exactly what I was doing. We'd have an argument. I wouldn't understand what was going on. I need time to process. Often wouldn't get that time to process, or wasn't willing to really process things properly. So I just go, well, I don't understand. This is stupid. And all she hears is, you're stupid. Mm-hmm. Why are you making a deal out of this? Which just invalidates her feelings, which makes her more unhappy. And just we get this cycle of unhappy feelings on her part, and me just kind of sitting in my own feelings and not actually processing them. I don't remember where I learned this, or if it just kind of came from talking to you. First thing I do, I see she's upset. I go, what's wrong? She'll tell me exactly what's bothering her. Oftentimes it'll be something I did or said. First thing I do is go, I'm sorry. Like, I'll just have to humble myself because I care about her and I care about her feelings. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel like that. And then you need to take ownership for how you made that person feel. There's no point in just saying like, well, you shouldn't have felt like that. That's not what I meant. Well, that's what was communicated. I communicated poorly. So I need to learn how to communicate in a way that she's going to receive exactly what I'm trying to communicate. So I just go, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. This is what I intended to do. I understand that's not what was communicated. I'm sorry.
We've come such a long way.
Oh man, such a long way.
It's so difficult to validate someone's feelings when you're struggling to see where they're coming from, or you legitimately think that it's irrational how they're feeling, and to still like show them the love and respect to validate their feelings.
I think as men, oftentimes we think if I validate her feelings, that means I'm agreeing with her and I'm agreeing with them. I don't have to agree with her. I just have to accept and understand that this is the way she's feeling. That's all it is. It's actually not a hard thing to do. You just need to learn to do it.
All right, I'll talk about this one, because since Joshua has owned up to some things that he's struggled with, I will own up to some things I struggled with.
She never struggles with anything. She's an angel.
When we first got married, I think it was due to a lack of maturity that I maybe did this. But I was in a habit of running away and expecting him to come and chase me. So if we were having a fight in the living room, I would just storm into the bedroom and just shut the door. And then I'd sit in bed crying and wait for him to come in and be like, I love you. I'm so sorry. And you know, be my Prince Charming that like saves me from this awful state of grief that I'm in or whatever. Like just feeling really dramatic and wanting to be pursued. And he never did that. He literally never did that. And part of the reason he never did that is because he's such an internal processor. So in his mind, he's like, she's leaving the room because she needs to internally process. And if I was in her situation, I would want to be respected by being given that space. Mm-hmm. And then trying to explain to someone, I'm running away from you because I want you to chase me. You start to realize like maybe my logic is a little bit messed up.
It does sound pretty funny when you
It does sound pretty funny.
Like that.
You feel pretty stupid when you try to explain to someone like, no, I left you because I wanted you to chase me so that we could figure it out. Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you just stay in the room so that we could figure it out? Because I wanted to know that you care. And then it's like, okay, well, why didn't you just communicate that to me, that you were feeling uncared for, and we could talk about it and sort it out? And then you kind of realize like, okay, maybe I was being a little bit immature about it. I've been trying so hard not to bring this up. But like, for any of you Taylor Swift fans out there, oh, no. I just want to say this is exactly like the song The Other Side of the Door. How she's like, I said leave, but baby, all I want is you to stand outside my window throwing pebbles, screaming, I'm in love with you. Wait there in the pouring rain, coming back for more. And don't you leave, because I know all I need is on the other side of the door.
Wow, that sounds like a really toxic girl.
Yeah, I think I listened to too much of that when I was a kid. And you grow up and then you're like, the part where she's like, I know all I need is on the other side of the door. It's like, if all you need is on the other side of the door, just open the freaking door. Right? If any of you guys relate to that song and you know what I'm talking about, please comment down below. You will make my day.
Okay, so another point is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yeah.
We both struggle with this one.
Yeah.
Someone who does a really good job of this is my friend Mahalia. Like, the way she talks to her husband is so beautiful, and she just speaks so gently to him all the time. And I actually try to be more like her. Like, I think about her all the time. I have a very like low, loud voice, and that can really easily make my tone sound aggressive. Like, even in my YouTube videos, sometimes I like look at the way I'm talking about a topic and I just sound angry even though I'm not. And so I have to be really careful about my tone, and I can very easily be the person who's like, where did you put the toothpaste? Whereas my friend Mahalia, she's more of the like, honey,
It's so her.
honey, where's the toothpaste? And why don't I do that?
Yeah.
So I've been trying, I don't know if you've even noticed, to be honest, but I've been trying to do that more. I've been trying to be a little bit more like her in that sense and be like, honey, where's the toothpaste? Or like, honey, have you seen the toothpaste? Even though inside my initial response wants to be like, where'd you put the freaking toothpaste?
Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, that is exactly what's going to get my back up. And if you want a nice response, talk nicely to people.
All right, so this one is our final fight de-escalation / conflict resolution tip. If you guys want us to make a part 2, though, we would happily do that because it is so important to know how to deal with conflict in your marriage. Our final one is understanding how conflict was handled in your spouse's household growing up and how that affects their expectations on conflict in your marriage. We grew up in households where conflict was handled very differently, would you say?
Pretty much opposite.
Pretty much opposite. My family was very like open, whereas in your family,
We just didn't talk about it.
so when he married me and I was bringing up conflicts all the time, just thinking it's no big deal, this is what we do, we bring things up, we resolve them, and we move on. To him, that was like, wow, she's really unhappy all the time.
Just stacking on. To me, it felt like a knock against me as a husband and as a character. Like, how am I doing things wrong so much that you have to bring them up? Because for me to bring something up, it has to be pretty bad. Like, I have to be quite upset about it and have had like a lot to think about.
I do want to say, you say all the time, but it was maybe like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, that's a lot for me.
Yeah, like to me, all the time is like 3-4 times a day. That to me, that's all you're bringing stuff up all the time. It was like 3 to 4 times a week I'm bringing things up that he said or did that like hurt my feelings or bothered me, or something around the house that I wanted him to do differently. And to him, that just felt overwhelming. To me, I felt like I'm
That
picking
so
my
pathetic.
battles. No, but also because I think you had a very high expectation of yourself going into marriage, and then me bringing things up, it felt like I'm not living up to the expectation.
Yes.
Instead of being like, well, your family did it wrong, do it my way, it's important to have empathy and be like, okay, I understand why you view conflict resolution in that way, because then you can take both sides and you can raise your kid in a more balanced environment. All right, guys, that was everything for today's video. Let us know down below if you have any advice or if you would like us to do a part 2. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to see more of our sit-down videos, maybe some of our vlogs, we're doing a bit of traveling soon, which we're super excited for, and we're excited to take you guys along with us. I won't tell you where we're going because I want you to be surprised.
We'll see you guys next week, Saturday.
Bye.